I'm here with Wes Gilbertson out of Calgary. And Wes, Brad Treliving did not make one of his blockbuster trades today, but he made some kid's day, didn't he?
Yeah, one of the very cool moments here in the very late stages of the 2019 NHL draft. Dustin Wolf, now a seventh round selection of the Flames at number 214 overall, had been sitting for, I guess, 4.5 hours hoping to hear his name called.
Wow.
A guy who was expecting to go a lot sooner. It's funny, at the end of the draft, you've got different teams starting to kind of pack up their notes. You've got, the crew's kind of anxious to start ripping down the down the desks and the tables, and there's Dustin Wolf sitting there, and they announced with only three picks beyond Calgary left to go. They select this young man from the Western Hockey League's Everett Silvertips. Tears flowing down his face as he comes down to the draft floor. It's just one of those cool moments that it's funny when we all get together at these drafts, we just talk about past draft moments. Remember when this happened, and remember when this happened. And for Dustin Wolf, who had the best save percentage in the Western Hockey League last year, he's going to be a draft story from now on. This was a goosebumps type moment that a lot of people will remember about today.
Yeah, I remember a couple of drafts ago where the Leafs picked a guy in the Minnesota draft, and he wasn't there, but he was based in Minnesota, and they actually called him at home, and he had to borrow his dad's suit and get over to the rink. So those kind of stories, you love, because a lot of these kids, especially in rounds 2 through 7, we might not see them ever again in the NHL, but this is one where, like you said, he's going to remember it. Did Calgary have any idea that he was just waiting in the stands? Because sometimes that leaks into, the draft floor, where they said, you know what, there's a kid here, and he's got 20 family members, and he's been sweating in his suit all day. Did you hear of anything like that?
It definitely can be a factor, but Todd Button, who's the director of amateur scouting, said they had no idea that he and his family were still sitting up there. So what he said is that they had kind of decided, you know what, seventh round, we're going to take a goalie. They had 4 names on their list, and he says Dustin Wolf was at the top of that. So he's a smaller guy. He's 6 foot. Kind of in today's day and age, you're looking for a goalie who's maybe 6'5" or 6'7" to block a ton of the net. But we'll see. He's a guy who's been backup to Carter Hart in Everett, took over the starter's job. Obviously, no one's calling him Carter Hart, but he's seen what it takes to be successful. And to your point, no matter what happens from this point forward, this is a day Dustin Wolf is absolutely never going to forget.
And a day that, the Calgary Flames are probably going to be looking towards now is July 1. How busy do you think they're going to be? And, we saw a trade today, Patrick Marleau going from Toronto to Carolina. It's a paper transaction. It was basically $6.25 million for a first-round pick in addition to. I think back on James Neal and the difficult season he had. Are the Flames really going to try to really kind of rebound this guy and hope that he can make good on this contract? Or is this a possibility where either they buy him out or trade him? Is any of those a possibility right now?
There were, a bunch of reports that Brad Treliving was looking for a way out, that he'd like to find him a new home somehow. If Patrick Marleau one more year costs a first rounder to get that salary off your books, then James Neal 4 more seasons still at 5.75. No chance. There's no chance that you are going to A, find a taker for that contract, or B, pay whatever quadruple the asset price is on the Marleau trade to get that done. So I think they have no choice. This is a guy who had scored 20 plus in 10 consecutive seasons. I think you have to wait it out and hope he rebounds. There weren't a lot of signs for me last year that that he still had a ton left, but if the alternative is just taking on this huge cost to get rid of him, I think you hope for the best.
And the good news is, even with him not scoring, Calgary finishes first in the conference. So, there's only one way to go up in this or go with this, and it's probably up. And we'll see what happens with Neal next season. We'll see what happens with the Flames in free agency. You can follow all the news from Wes in Post Media Papers. For Post Media News, this is Wes Gilbertson. I'm Michael Tracos.